thing. All right. So my turn. Hey guys, Yankee T News here with Jason with Common Sense News and Entertainment, the emerging powerhouse in media. And we have got a lot to go over, especially because of what has been happening down in Washington, D.C. Boy, have I got a story to tell. So
let's hear it.
Let's put it up. Let's put it up.
No, we're putting it up. Okay.
Okay. So this is my attempt at summarizing. So I'll just read it to you. It's easier.
Yes.
Okay. Lamont's 8 years in one moment. The story yet to be told about Connecticut at the Great American State Fair. The empty booth was a metaphor for what Lamont did for Connecticut in 2 terms. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The empty booth was also a metaphor for the Patriots, who quickly filled the void left by Lamont.
Mm-hmm.
They took it from being a meaningless, lifeless nothing to something filled with spirit and national pride.
That's right.
This boneheaded move by Lamont will haunt him for the rest of the election. You can count on that.
I agree.
And if anybody's going to have a role in it, we are. 4, the Patriots who took action accomplished exceptional and unprecedented things in just a few days. 1, the only booth in the whole fair that had a radio station broadcasting.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine that? The whole nation, all 50 states. Connecticut was the only one broadcasting with a radio.
Yeah, over the air, traditionally MFM radio.
For that matter. It's just astonishing. Okay, 2, the joining together by disparate groups. This is an important point. Disparate groups working towards the one goal. And 3, the loud message that was sent that Connecticut and its people are truly special.
That's right.
The backstory has yet to be told. Groups such as Moms for Freedom, the Southington Republican Town Committee, the Bristol Republican Town Committee found transportation money and the means to get there on short notice. Mm-hmm. And kind of a shout out to Rob Sampson. I mean, if you really follow what he was doing on Instagram, even though they were brief, you really got a sense of what was going on in there. There was one shot that showed a line out the door of people who wanted to get in and see what was going on.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there needs
Sam Mont. I'm glad you mentioned Sam Montville on there. He's instrumental in helping put this together too.
Right. So there needs to be a day-by-day accounting to explain how this all happened according to numerous individuals. Reese on the radio, Rob Sampson, Betsy McCoy, Gail Master Francesco, Sam Montville, as well as the groups mentioned above, and unsung others. Yeah, so there's a whole story. It's like, I would want to go back to that moment. When did you first hear about this? Who did you talk to? What did you discuss?
Mm-hmm.
How did this all come together? And we know that, Betsy had a bit of an issue getting down there, but she did. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's kind of like God said, you got to get there, Betsy.
Yeah, what was cool is that they were going to rent a bus, and there was going to be a whole busload of people, but the bus fell apart within 2 days of the event, and that we still persevered and put it together and managed to go down there. So that's pretty awesome.
That's right.
I almost feel guilty not going down there with them, but hey.
But that's okay. There's the people who were there, if I may say it fatalistically, were supposed to be there. All right.
Mm-hmm.
They did a great job. And, I loved it when Rob Sampson had that red T-shirt that said freedom on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's deal with the opposite. If you have someone who's speaking for Connecticut standing there wearing a T-shirt that says freedom, what might that say about the person who did nothing for the booth? Mm-hmm. I don't know. The word tyrant comes to mind.
Yeah.
And if we're having trouble with this idea of tyranny, having a tyrannical governor, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you. Tyranny being visited against the homeschooling parents in this state. Tyranny against it's getting set up, so it's not a straightforward thing, but tyranny in healthcare in the state. And now it's officially laws of the 1st of July, tyranny over local control in building, in construction plans.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, tyrant. Okay. And the tyrant did what? Nothing. All right. He's busy sucking up the power, but he doesn't care about the people. The evidence is right here. So
there you have it.
That's it.
I can't say it better myself.
There's more to be said about this. That's all I can.
Well, it should be utilized going forward from now until November, without a doubt.
Yes, and I fully expect that we will. By the way, is it raining where you are?
It is quite heavily too. I'm concerned about the power.
Same here too. Yep, same here too. Okay, so we got that. Let's put that to bed for now.
It's funny because we're hear this rain come through, and then the rain stops, and then we hear fireworks going off, and then the rain comes back. It's like people are sitting waiting for the rain. The rain's been kind of on and off. I know Litchfield County's getting hammered right now. So
right. So
and then speaking of the weather, and just getting back, we went down to DC. They had, according to Sam Moffitt yesterday, there was over 110 degrees down there. He says 117, and I said, well, that can't be that high. Maybe the wind, the heat index is 117. And then he wrote back on my comments, says, no, the temperature was 117.
All right. Well, since it was a heat dome, right? It's possible that you had this trapping of
hot air.
Yeah. Right.
So it has been so hot that it's interfered with the festivities down there on some level. But what are you gonna do? Can't stop Mother Nature. I just lost you. Just froze. And our broadcast seems to have frozen. It might have something to do with the weather. He might have lost his power down there because he is completely frozen. Court is completely frozen. So yeah, we have severe weather in the area tonight, and it does threaten the power. And sometimes he freezes for a couple seconds, but our old man is frozen solid now for what's going on in about 30 or 40 seconds now. So I'm not sure we're gonna be able to continue, quite frankly. Let me try to log out, log back on, see if that works. But he is frozen.
Okay. Oh, all right. So you guys are still there. That's great. Yeah, we just had a power outage, and so I've just resent the invites to Jason and others. The other guys are probably very busy, but anyway, so it's just trying to pick up where we left off. So this, what happened in DC, we're not letting this go. No, we're going to stay on this.
Okay, so I just got some breaking news from Washington.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, as of this evening, they tried to close the mall down.
Right.
And the people refused to leave.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it was and Sam compares it to another J6.
Oh my goodness.
It got real ugly. And apparently now, I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to get everything from him, but apparently now he's back on his way over there now, and Trump has ordered it reopened. They're trying to go in and reopen everything right now. But apparently between 5 and 7 p.m. tonight, there was a very tense situation as they tried to shut down the mall, send everybody home. People refused to leave, and it got real ugly. And Sam says it was almost like J6 again. So I don't know anything else other than that.
So this was all right.
This was this evening, 6 o'clock.
I'm gonna say it, folks. Whoever's listening here, you're not getting this information anywhere else.
Exclusively here on Common Sense Entertainment and AKT News. That's right.
There you go.
So and now apparently Trump has refused to cancel. He's planning on speaking at 11 o'clock. And the fireworks are still on for 11 o'clock. But now there's 200,000 people all simultaneously trying to work their way back into the mall area. And Sam is one of those people, and he says it's absolutely bedlam there right now.
Amazing. Well, is there any way he can? Well, I mean, he would have to send you the video, and then you could describe it if he could.
Yeah, he will. I think.
I'm
not sure if he'll do it on time for our broadcast, but I know he's.
All right. So I would just say, while we're talking, just keep texting him and see what he can do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm on live on Facebook, so I can't really.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm thinking
technology. We're still working out here.
Right, for sure. I'm thinking of Betsy in the middle of all this right now.
Yeah.
You know
what's happening down there with all that?
Woo! Yeah, that'll be interesting to put it mildly. Okay, so yeah, it's called "We'll Stay Tuned" on this.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll stay on top of it.
All right. Meantime, there's that article I sent you. Did you have a chance to read it?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Bad dog. Bad dog.
Well, tell us about it.
Okay. It's a very good article. And I probably, let's see, can I post it here? Maybe if I just take a minute.
Can you get it up here?
I think I can. So just give me a minute.
A little engine that could.
Let's see here. Yes, an important article about Iran. Okay, this is going to take some.
July, really?
What's that?
No, okay, it's fine.
What's up?
Iran on the 4th of July is depressing.
Well,
I'm
going to say we can have that. Here, let me get this article up.
I do want to. We didn't get a chance to talk last night about the topic. Maybe we can do it real quick right now. It won't take about 5 minutes.
What's that?
I want to know why everybody hates the Jews so much.
Right. You were going to talk about that. That's right.
Why is it? What is the fundamental reason why the Jews, they take it on both ends? They're hated in America by so many young people. They're hated by, obviously by the Islamic community. They're hated by, there's talk about the Europeans are, they were slaughtered in Europe. The Jews just seem to have, people just don't like the Jews. Even our own people in MAGA, there's so many of our own people right here on the show that talk trash about the Jews, don't like the Jews. So why is it?
Well, I think the answer is religious. Okay. I think there's such a deep, first of all, remember, Catholicism is much older than Protestantism. And it would have been the Catholics who were pushing the view that the Jews killed Jesus.
Okay.
All right.
That's part of it. I think it's a deeper reason, though.
Deeper? How do you get deeper than killing Jesus?
Well, okay, there's more of a psychological reason, I would say. Jewish people have a reputation, as we all know, they're stereotyped as being cheapskates, right?
More
say about the Jews. They're cheapskates. That's a common stereotype, is it not?
But you have to look this in terms of the broad history.
What I'm getting at is what I'm getting at. People are jealous of what they do better than they do. The Jewish people are very savvy. They're very good savers. They're very good investors. They're very intelligent. They succeed at a high rate. And I think there's a bit of a it's the same reason why my two younger brothers can't stand me, because I've accomplished more than they have. I do more than they do. And I think the Jewish are just very accomplished, sophisticated people. And I think it just pisses off most of the rest of the world. It's like this human nature envy. It's an envy. There's an envy behind it. Because you could say that there's a lot of people, any religion doesn't like the other religion. I mean, that's pretty common for religions to go after each other. There's another reason, though.
No, first of all, these points you're making apply not just to Judaism or the Jewish culture. All right. You find others, you're Italians who was distinguished in the Wells, in the arts, in law, in medicine. Okay. You can say it's so part of the problem is that the Jewish community has been a small community compared to the others. So they've been, I'll argue, it's been
the impact that the Jewish community has had on the world for being such a small group of people is pretty big.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's another source of, envy and people despise that kind of stuff. And I think that's probably what's behind a lot of this.
Well, all right. Look, part two is that, how do I want to put this? Mohammed, when he became very disappointed, probably became the world's biggest Jew hater. So from the very get-go with Islam, the Jews were hated.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so, and that had nothing to do with jealousy. It was really had more to do with what we'll call unrequited love.
What about the growing state of anti-Semitism we have in our own country? That's not based on religion.
Muhammad was doing everything he could to get Jews to join into his religion, but they wouldn't do it. Like them, he said no pork. Like them, they had fasting. Like them, he had these other. He adopted these Jewish practices as part of Islam. Okay.
People don't generally wake up and go join another religion.
That's not done out of jealousy.
What about the anti-Semitism in America, though? That's not religious based. It's based on economics. It's based on bad propaganda and economics, really, more than anything, and jealousy.
I'm not completely there because, again, you can't.
I'm not saying it's the only reason. I'm saying it's a factor. It's a factor.
Yeah, but all right, you say a factor, but so let's juxtapose the two factors: jealousy and
religious differences,
and the deep historical religious animosity. Got it? So, I mean, does one lead to the other?
I think they're part. I think they go hand in hand. I do.
So you think that?
Well, the Jewish people also, the Jewish religion as a whole is not a top-down religion like Catholicism is. Catholicism is sort of they have the Pope and they have the cardinals and the archbishops, and there's a hierarchy there.
Yes.
And the Jewish religion is more of a, I don't know, free enterprise kind of thing.
Okay, well, that's right. There is no such a Jewish Vatican.
Such hierarchy. And
but guess what? There's no such thing as an Islamic.
No, that capitalism and freedom of self-determination espouses more success. And so the doctrines of the Jewish religion allow for more self-determination, individual success versus Islam or versus other religions which don't.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to kind of agree with that. But I'm not sure how to think about it because where do I want to go with this? Right here, I'm just a little distracted right now because just got off a movie. We'll try to get on in a bit. Okay, so Alan may be showing up, so he'll give us his perspective on why everyone hates the Jews.
Why does everybody hate the Jews? I don't personally hate the Jews, but most people do, seems like.
Well, there's a lot to admire, and there's a lot to criticize.
Sure, there's always a lot to criticize about any culture, any movement, any religion.
So what is the big deal?
What makes the Jewish special in criticism? What makes the need to slaughter Jews so prevalent in the minds of so many people?
Well, you say so many people. You got to remember that it's Islam, all right? That
primarily.
Well, what? Who else?
Well, what's the anti-Semitism movement going on in America right now? It's not really all Islam. It's college kids. It's a far left. It's economically based, I think, in some ways. And the hypocrisy behind it. They're yelling at Trump, calling him Hitler, while they're the ones hating on the Jews. How do we reconcile this?
Reconcile it.
We don't, I guess. Hypocrisy is nothing new, Court, but
the problem I'm having here is, again, I go back to the long history of prejudice against the Jews to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And it should not be hard to understand that the pogroms and everything else that happened to them, limited in terms of what professions they could pursue, almost forcing them to become money changers, contributed. It affected their minds. Okay, it's just like with the Holocaust. You have the survivors of the Holocaust, a number of whom have serious psychiatric problems. Not all, but some.
Understandably so.
Okay, so again, you have to be able to look at what should I say, I'm going to use a fancy word alert here, milieu. Okay, you have to look at that milieu.
Is it milieu? Milieu?
M-I-L-E-U, I think.
Yeah.
To, I think, really begin to understand what they're dealing with. And the same problem where they've been treated like this over the years has, well, let me just hold that thought and move to the next part, Zionism. Okay. So I'm not an expert on Zionism, but the notion here is that they felt that they had Zionism, if I understand it, it's their version of what is that called again? Manifest Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
A Jewish manifest destiny as expressed through Zionism. If you can see it as a form of manifest destiny, well, guess what? They ain't the only ones, right? The Russians have their version of manifest.
Every culture has their version of
manifest destiny. Okay, so
that's the point I made last week. Every culture significant has their version of manifest history, where this utopian vision of the whole world being just like them, and
no, it's not that. Manifest destiny is about the whole world being like them.
Well, it's about their expansion of their culture.
Well, yes, okay, but in the case of Russian manifest destiny, see what's weird here is that Russian and American manifest destiny do share something in common, believe it or not. And that is both being undergirded by, shall we say, an intense Christian devotion. In their case, it's the Russian Orthodox Church. In our case, I think I'm going to Protestantism here.
Yeah.
Now, they kind of end up in different places.
Well, the Russian Orthodox Church is really just an extension of the government, really.
That may be true in the modern day, but before that, okay, the what I want to say, the force, the element, the character of Russian manifest destiny would have started with their connection with the church, because you got to remember, one of the things we forget is that you had Russian Christians at the time of the fall of Constantinople. When that happened, all of a sudden they felt like they were the ones who were going to have to become the defenders of the faith above all else. All right. And so that became but we're talking 500 years ago, that informed the roots of their sense of manifest destiny, their commitment. I mean, they felt they had to bring moral character to the rest of the world through their version of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that was their version of manifest destiny, later to be, twisted and screwed up, right?
By Marxism.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a curious thing, though. And I think, I don't know if this is the time or the place. Let me put up.
Okay, so the Zionist movement is a movement of Jewish expansion that we just discussed. Every other culture has their version of it. So why single out the Jews? Why make that their?
Well, the expansion part, I think we're finding out comes later. The first part was the notion that there was land in that area of the Mideast that God had promised to them.
Mm-hmm.
They felt they needed to get that land back. Now, I'm going to make a bad joke. All right, get ready for the bad joke alert, folks.
I got my belly ready.
Okay. Did you ever see an animated cartoon movie called Madagascar?
I've never seen the movie. I've heard of it. I think I put it on for my kids once.
Yes. Okay. So it was the story of a number of animals in what looked like the Bronx Zoo who had decided they must escape and return to their ancestral homelands. So it turns out that the penguins were the smart ones in this movie.
Sounds
And
like a good movie.
of course, as penguins, their ancestral homeland was Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
Cold and miserable, but that's their ancestral homeland. So they got to get back there. So there are all these adventures and all these things that happen. They actually take control of a ship. They sail back to Antarctica. They're there. They're so happy. They're excited. They get off and they stare at all the trackless wastes of South Antarctica with the wind blowing.
Get out of here.
Then go, this sucks.
Yeah.
It's just like, for how many people is that the case? So you know what?
It's called The Grass is Always Greener on the Other Side.
Okay, so Zionism, you want to go back there, huh? And it's desert. This sucks. All right, but in their case, they made the most of it, to their credit. So that's the first part right now. Now I'm going to slip in the other thing we talked about, which you, by the way, I think were skeptical about.
Let's hear it.
The Greater Israel Project.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not skeptical about it. I just don't think it's a way to judge the Jews on. That's all.
Okay. Well, again, if I'm guilty of trying to look at all these other historical examples, compare this with that, and say, well, is this unique? Is this like that? What is it? So, in the case of the Greater Israel Project, I don't know.
Is it the Israeli jihad? I mean, is that what it is? The Israeli jihad?
No, it begins to. It's their version, but. How do I deal with this? Oh, God. All right. Some people are not going to like this. That's okay. There is the map. If you go to Wikipedia, you'll find the map of the Greater Israel Project. It actually dates back to the late 1800s. And some guy, I can't think of his name right now, first postulated this idea. And the map that he created was certainly much larger than the land that's currently occupied by Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is, well, if we're going to meet the objectives of this Greater Israel Project, we're going to have to expand to this map that was put out in the late 1800s. Okay.
That's not going to happen. You and I both know that, though.
Yeah, we know that's going to not happen, but they believe that they can do it. On what basis?
Well, I mean, there's no basis. So that's why it's not to be taken so seriously. And it's not something to judge the entire country over.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point, really. Like, look, for me personally, I'm an American expansionist. I'm an American Zionist. Okay. I would like to see the entire world someday.
Yeah.
Under the protection of the Bill of Rights and due process and free enterprise and the world will be better that way.
Sounds nice.
Sounds nice. That's probably not going to happen anytime in the next century or two or three or four, but maybe in the 27th century. Who knows?
All right. Can we be realistic about this? Can we be realistic about this? The problem being.
I'm being idealistic.
Well, look, we've already found out. Look, I'm sorry. Despite those cute little coexist bumper stickers some people wear, Islam and American democracy cannot coexist.
No, they cannot. And guess what? As the planet gets smaller and smaller with more and more transportation and communication, ultimately in time, there's not going to be room for both of these things on this planet.
All right. So what was this about everybody living under the Bill of Rights?
Well, if we're going to have a new world order court, wouldn't you rather have one under the governing rules of something like the United States Constitution rather than,
wait a second,
law?
Where did this new world order stuff come from? So you still, all right.
The New World Order, you know what the New World Order is. It's an elitist thing. It's not a good thing.
We're going to have to deal with this. Okay. Understand that what is being commonly known as Monroe Doctrine 2.0 or the Monroe Doctrine 2.0
mm-hmm.
is a fundamental shift away from the New World Order. It is a rejection of the New World Order.
That's correct. What I'm saying to you is, I know what the New World Order is. It's not. It's an evil thing. It's basically the elitist plan for the world, and it's not good. It's bad.
Well, I
think
think
doctrine goes in the face of that.
All right, let's.
But I'm talking about New World Order in a generic term.
Okay, let's pick an easy one. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of New World. All right, I'm going to back up just a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
when we first learned about the Council on Foreign Relations, no, different. No, there was a related group. If anybody remembers it from the 1970s.
Trilateral Commission.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Okay. And by the way, for the hell of it, I went to their office.
You went to the office of the Trilateral Commission?
Yes.
Okay.
Problem was nobody was there. Bad timing. It was in the middle of the day, so where did everybody go? I don't know.
So when I use the term New World Order, I use it in a generic form. In other words, if there's going to be any kind of New World Order, whatever that is,
okay,
it should be under the premises of capitalism, freedom, and the Bill of Rights, not under any other rule.
All right. Well, then you're abusing the concept, because New World Order is supposed to refer to one world government.
That's correct.
Okay. So I don't understand how you get from that to what you just said.
What I'm saying is, ultimately, there probably will be a one world government. Maybe it's 300 years from now, or maybe we explore space. I mean, there's ultimately, because things are and when that happens.
Okay, but
look at what happens.
All right,
look at what government should be one based on freedom, not based on any other crap we're trying to pull around the world now. Is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So I'm using the term one world order in a generic form, just meaning like the term of a one world government, not what the elitists have planned. That's not the plan.
Okay.
Their one world order is something different.
Right. The best I can get out of this is, if there's going to be some notion of a one world order that has some kind of intellectual, philosophical foundation,
it should be one of freedom.
For being realized. Yes, it has to be based upon some notion of freedom.
Yes.
Okay. It sounds nice, like so many other things we hear that sound nice.
I'm speaking strictly ideologically. I'm not trying to tell you this is going to happen next week. I'm speaking strictly philosophically here. Ultimately, I think in the long run, this is a big picture, long run thing. We're talking as the next millennium goes on here. There isn't going to be room for both on this planet. There's going to be room for people like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-il, and also a democracy. There's not going to be room for both.
All right, maybe there's as I'm listening to you and trying to think this through, maybe there's a different way of getting there. All right, but right now, just to review, just to paint the perspective, I'm going to start with, what was it? The last 5,000 years. You ever hear of this book? Last 5,000 years, or something like that. The message of this book was that the United States was very unique because, in effect, it broke with 5,000 years of history.
Yeah.
Okay. The ideas that we put forth in terms of individual rights and a government that protects those rights was first time. Yes, it was a complete departure from everything else that had come before.
Yep. Okay. And that's why we became the most powerful nation in the world. That's the reason, the only reason.
Right. Well, in spite of a lot of flaws and problems, many of which we have complained about and will continue to complain about.
Oh, we're all human beings. We're flawed creatures, so it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah, well, it's not just about being flawed. All right. Now I'm going to have to digress just a little bit. I have become persuaded that the deep state still has a death grip on election integrity. We're not there. We are not there.
We're near there. We probably. I'm going to guess that out of all the election fraud and voter fraud problems we have in this country, I'm not going to say there hasn't been any progress, but we've probably taken care of about 10% of it. I think the rest of it's all there.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I would agree with that. I think of people like True the Vote and Linda Sinkowitz's Fight Voter Fraud and Unite for Freedom and all these other groups that are trying to bring election integrity to this country. It's a tall order.
I would say that if we can get through the census of 2030 and into elections following that, you'll see more improvement.
Okay.
As long as the trend continues the way it is. But for this November,
yeah. Well, let's throw in two things here just to think of it. Besides, the jury is not out. John Solomon?
I know of him.
Yeah, Just the News. And so apparently he has taken a leave from Just the News to become a volunteer working in the federal government to help with the declassification of all the dirt on the deep state.
Oh, good. That's great.
If we can count on anybody to get the truth out, it would be him.
I think good things are still happening. Like I heard there's a major crackdown going on in Chicago again. This time it's from the DOJ, not from ICE. It's the DOJ that is cracking down.
Wait, what major crackdown is that?
Some operation of I forgot what it was called. It's happening in Chicago right now, though.
Okay.
And it's cracking down on all the DOJ is apparently going in, and I don't know. Does the DOJ have actual troops on the ground? I didn't know they had that, but they must be using the, I don't know, maybe FBI, the FBI, yeah.
All right. So
they're cracking down in Chicago again on the violence, not through ICE, but through.
So you're talking about, this is about going after illegals.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, there was an announcement about the largest number of arrests in one day, which was I forget what the number was, but it was
4,500 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that was what I heard. In any event, shifting back to election integrity, the other part is in Georgia. I don't know if you heard that the DOJ announced that it was, or the FBI was expanding the scope of its investigation. Remember those 70 some boxes that they took? Yeah. Well, apparently there's a lot of detail in there. They have to get, I can't believe I'm saying this, okay? And I hope I'm getting the news right. A couple hundred, maybe more analysts.
Oh, good.
Through these boxes of material as they build their prosecution against the really bad officials in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats and Republicans alike, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Okay. I think this Raffensperger guy is as rotten as they come. Okay. And he's done everything he can to avoid investigation. Mm-hmm. So personally, I want to believe that the clock is ticking on Raffensperger.
I hope so.
Others. Yeah. Okay. So
what about states like California, though? They're doing it openly over there. I don't know what kind of inroads are at. California thinks it's a separate country right now, and it's a problem. It's a real problem.
Yeah. That's, yeah. Where do I go with that? I mean, all I can say is I agree with you. It's a problem in California. But here's the sweet irony. Okay. Here's the sweet irony. With the passage of time, Steve Hilton is pulling away.
Okay.
Okay. So that said, they're going to have to do a lot of, we have a new word, by the way. You've heard of mail-in ballots?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Trump has a new term for those mail-in ballots.
Fraud ballots?
Close. Mail-in cheating.
Mail-in cheating. That's good.
Yes. Well,
that's what it is.
It
unless
is.
Unless you're in the military or you're disabled and cannot get out of your house.
Mm-hmm.
Those would be the two good reasons to have mail-in ballots. There is no other reason that I think is valid.
Yeah. So, but see, again, for the Democrats to pull this off, what's going on here? Eversource. Oh, yeah. Oh, responding to high volume of outages. Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Eric is going through, I think Eric is going through this too. Yep. That's a shame.
Eric's out of power?
Yeah. He didn't. It's funny because I was talking to him about getting the generator working, but it didn't do anything.
Now I have news that 80,000
possibility for it too. Okay.
I just got the news 80,000 plus are now without power in Connecticut.
Wow. Okay. There you go.
Hurricane Sandy was 900,000, just for comparison.
Yeah. All right. So this is variable drop in the bucket. There's been quite a storm. I think
the rain has stopped here. I don't hear it at least.
See, I'm listening. It sounds quiet outside here too.
Maybe in the clear.
Yeah. Don't speak too soon.
No.
Anyway, all right. So I feel like we've left this thing hanging. Let's agree to discuss this further concerning why people have such a universal hatred for Jews.
For Jews, right? In particular, because you can argue there's people that hate Christians, there's people that hate Baptists, there's people who hate Catholics. But like it seems like there's little small groups of people from everywhere in the world that hate the Jews, and that's really what I'm trying to pick apart and figure out.
Okay, all right. I guess the part that I'm all right. Well, let's first of all, I just need to make the point that when we're looking at these different groups, if we're not a part of that group and we don't like them, we're going to be kind of critical about them. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Instead, try to put yourself in their shoes. Try to figure out why they're thinking the way they're thinking. So an easy one is, a lot of these people who are protesting Israel, who are being anti-Semitic, in fact, believe in all their heart that the Jews are being absolutely oppressive and destructive, and they're hurting innocent people in Gaza and in Lebanon. And for that reason, they should be reviled and attacked.
And they're being lied to.
Oh.
Is really what it is.
Well, I mean, you grab that, but I'm just saying, if we try to look at them in terms of how they see things and what they're saying, I mean, I'm taking what they're saying at face value, even if I disagree with it.
Yeah, that's what they're believing at face value. And the truth is, the Jews are from as far as I know, they're one of the first countries ever to go in and provide humanitarian aid in a place that they recently had to attack or whatever. I mean,
well, and it gets complicated. Look, do I want to go here? I'm going to go here.
Well, the age of the internet has brought on here's what the age of the internet has done to change everything, I believe.
What's that?
Before the age of the internet, the average person like you or me that had average Joe who had hate in them or were angry about something didn't have a platform to come out and spew it all over for everyone to read.
Okay.
You have to get through sort of a wall to get out there into the mainstream media. Now everybody's got a podcast. Everybody's can broadcast and so that has created the opportunity for a lot more false, fake news and propaganda and twisted stories to come out and for more people to see those things than they used to.
True that. Yes. Okay. So the part I wanted to grab onto, which is a little difficult here, some may not like this, but I was fascinated to learn that there is a parade that happens periodically in Gaza. This parade is where people walk down the street and they hold a key up in the air.
Okay.
Any guess what that key is for?
No, I don't have a guess.
That key is for the house that they got kicked out of by the Jews when Israel was formed.
But they feel they got kicked out of, at least.
Well, no, I think they really were kicked out.
Were they? Were they made to leave, or were they just told, "Hey, this is Israel now"?
I think it would have come down to they had a choice, either going to put up with being in this thing called Israel or not, and they decided not. Okay,
right. That's not being kicked out.
Well, they see it that way.
They see it that way.
Okay, well, and you got to understand, this is their reality. Okay, this is their perspective, like it or not.
No, I get it.
All right, so so I'm kind of stuck with that piece of information. Now let's turn it around for a moment and acknowledge, would you think that there are Muslims who live in Israel as Israeli citizens?
There are quite a few of them.
Yes, all right. And you have what are called Israeli Arabs.
Sure.
So what's going on?
Well, I mean, we're talking
hatred. Yet.
These crossover groups aren't that huge, though. They're not the dominant groups of people.
Oh, not so fast, buddy. Here we go. How many? Let's see. Arab.
Hey, I did some research. You know the notion that some people think that Hitler had Jews and it was actually part Jewish.
Say that again.
The rumor that goes out there that Hitler himself was part Jewish.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah,
I did some research on that this morning.
Yes.
Not true.
Not true?
No, true. Hitler has there's no provable information that Hitler has any Jewish.
The grandfather that was Jewish or something?
Yeah, they did some research on that from some town in Austria the guy supposedly lived. But Austrian records show no one by that name living in there during that period of time.
I don't know. If his real name was Schicklgruber, sounds kind of Jewish to me.
No, I don't know. I think I looked it up, and I don't think it's true. But it doesn't mean that he didn't hate the Jews because he might have grown up in a place where Jews were running circles around him and his family or whatnot. And it just, what would inspire him to hate them so much?
Okay, well,
individual. What happened in his life?
Well, I'm just going to say, I think that our understanding of the roots of anti-Semitism in Europe, if we want to start from 1800 and go forward, is so superficial, we shouldn't even be talking about this.
I agree.
Okay? So I'm just going to say, let's suspend this one and we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Meantime, back to your favorite subject, Iran.
on the 4th of July. Oh,
Okay, come
have to, teacher.
yes, we have
All
to.
right, I'll do it. Here we go.
I'll make it as painless as possible.
Fracturing open conflict could be next.
Okay, so I'm just going to start with the parts that I highlighted here. So my apologies if anybody's reading it, but in other words, now this is an important point in my eyes. Okay, in other words, that would be the IRGC and the Ayatollahs, subscribe to the core tenets of Shia Islamism. Okay, Shia, not Sunni.
Mm-hmm.
The forceful imposition of Shia Sharia law domestically, support for the so-called Axis of Resistance militia network, anti-Americanism, and the goal of eradicating the Israel driven by innate anti-Semitism. Okay, my comment is that Iran is the sole country forcing the imposition of Sharia law. Eliminating the IRGC will dramatically reduce international efforts to impose Islam on other countries,
including our own.
That's right. Okay.
This is why what I said from the beginning is true. The objective of this war must be to end the mullah, not just to make a deal.
Yes, that would be the gay Ayatollah, right? So
wherever he is.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, to paint this picture a little bit differently, by eliminating this regime, okay, Alan is just showing up here.
People argue that they'll just manifest themselves somewhere else.
Okay, all right.
Well, maybe that's so, but we can. Alan's here.
Let me. What's going on here? Just a second. Trying to get Alan in here. Where'd he go?
There he is.
Okay. Wait, come on.
There he goes.
There you go. All right.
Oh, look, you're both in the same living room.
Yes, but for some reason, his is the mirror image of mine.
Wow, how did that work? Oh, yeah.
Well, the real poster. Please stand up.
That means one of us is the alternate universe.
There you go. I don't know. After listening to that 10-year-old kid talk about alternative timelines, you have to consider it. All right.
Happy 4th/250.
All right. So just to get you up to date here, Alan. So we have talked about a few things, but here, I think I sent you this as well. This was an article written. I'm trying to remember what the source is. But okay, so it's by these two people, Kazra Arabi and Saeed Golkar.
Okay.
And the essence of the article, as the title suggests, is they believe that the disagreements and the friction between the major components of the Iranian Islamic regime are getting worse. Okay, that's their basic argument. Now, the basis for this belief, I don't think is really well made in this article, but we'll get to that. So the first point I wanted to make so what I did was I highlighted what I think was an important paragraph here. And the point I want to make here is that Iran is the only country that is forcing Sharia law on other countries.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'll throw in an exception. I have to deal with it. But here's the problem. Now, my understanding is that Wahhabism, are you familiar with Wahhabism?
I've heard of the term, but I'm not 100% with it.
Yeah. So it's my understanding that Wahhabism is the most severe, conservative, strict form of Islam in the Sunni sect, not Shia.
Okay.
Right? But they're pretty nasty. I'm
just going to be adjusting my camera a little bit here.
Okay, take your time. You've gotten so big.
Okay. Why have you grown?
Yeah, right.
So
let me just finish. So, as an example of how bad, Wahhabism has been supported by the Sunnis. Wahhabism originated in Saudi Arabia. Okay. In Saudi Arabia, it's a Sunni Islamic. All right. Now, are you familiar with the madrasas in Pakistan?
Somewhat.
Okay. So when we had invaded Afghanistan, the fighters that we were dealing with were, quote, graduates, if you will, of the madrasas in Pakistan.
Right.
Well, guess who was funding the madrasas in Pakistan? The Wahhabists in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Saudi funds a lot of stuff.
Yes. Well, this is not. I mean, that doesn't take away from this. Okay.
No. I mean it.
And yes,
They fund a lot of stuff that is anti-American.
Yes. Okay. So then CARE, right? And it was the
The
council,
unindicted co-conspirators. Yes.
yeah, along with Muslim Brotherhood and some others. Okay.
Don't we know somebody, wasn't there somebody famous who went to a madrasa? I don't know. I think maybe in Indonesia.
Are you talking about an American?
Well, he says he's an American.
Oh, geez. Here we go. Yeah. Who?
Some guy named Barry something.
Barry
Sotero, I think. He went to a madrasa, didn't he?
It was funny. According to what I read, okay, he attended what was this is going to sound very weird, and I may have this totally screwed up. It is my understanding that his mother, if this is to be true, when they were in Indonesia, put him in a school that was embedded within a Catholic school. Okay, but mind you, come on. Let's just deal with the simple statement. How can you tell when a politician is lying?
His lips are moving.
His lips are moving. How can you tell when Obama is lying? His lips are moving. Also,
Yes.
You can tell when Obama is lying when he writes something down about his life story. That's a lie.
He's a walking lie.
Please. Okay, so we're digressing. Let's get back to the article here. Okay. So the point is that I was trying to just emphasize that there are other areas in which Sharia law finds its way being imposed, but this is the engine. This is the main driver right here, Iran.
That's right.
Okay, and you understand it. Also, I mean, supposedly have these terror cells in America and other places, but they've also been making life rough for their Gulf Coast friends. Okay, anyway, moving to the next thing. Yes, I just want to remind you, the Motaba Khomeini, he's the gay Ayatollah, right? Okay, so the next paragraph, which I think is important, is afterwards. So here's what had the core of this article was a what do I want to call it? It was a document that was issued by the Assembly of Experts. So the Assembly of Experts is sort of a for the IRGC. It's like a Senate, sort of. It's the way I would think of it. And so, yeah, guess what? We killed a lot of them. Don't worry. Those positions have been refilled. Anyway, so after its publication, this controversial document, this guy named Ayatollah Hashem Hosseini Bushiri, chairman of the Assembly of Experts, secretary and spokesman, immediately stated that he was completely unaware of the statement and that he did not oppose those contents. Signatories had broken convention and published it without coordination with him. Okay. All right. So this is all right. Yes, you would look at this and say, well, look, you guys, especially at the top, are supposed to follow certain administrative or bureaucratic procedures and protocols for communicating with each other, making sure you're in the same email loop, right? The same mail list, whatever. But gee, funny thing, when they agreed to something, they left the boss out.
Or did they? Could be plausible deniability.
Well, what's there to deny? I mean, he didn't. He said he agreed with them, but they didn't. They didn't tell him. He had to find out the hard way. All right. So
that could be face saving. This isn't a bad deal, but I didn't know they were doing it.
Well, they're supposed to tell him. That's the problem. They're supposed to tell him. So somebody in this group chickened out, I think, and said, "We're not going to tell the boss man about this statement." All right, but so they're saying, "Oh my God, look at this! This is a sign that there's a fracturing that's taking place. The tensions are growing, and then they're going to start fighting with each other on the inside." Really? I'm not convinced, but this is what the article is saying. Nonetheless, I think it's worth noting that there is this struggle. That's the word I want to use.
Was New York City planning on doing their usual fireworks tonight?
Who? New York City?
Yeah, they usually do July 4th.
I thought they were.
Okay. I just got an alert that there's a pallet of pyrotechnics on fire underneath the Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh, wow.
Oh, brother.
Did you hear the report we said earlier that at 5 p.m. they tried to kick everybody out of the mall in Washington? The people refused to leave, and there became a J6 like incident down there.
Wow, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that's what I've been told by Sam Monfort, who was there. So
who was trying to kick them out?
They were trying to shut down the mall at about 5:30, 6 o'clock tonight because of the reason, the weather, and the people were refusing to leave.
Would that be the Capitol Police?
Malls, Parks Police.
Parks Police. Okay, so that's a different creature from everybody else.
Washington probably has about 30 police departments.
Probably Metro Police is probably involved.
No, Metro Police has nothing to do with them all.
Okay,
because it's a federal park.
Jason, I have to give you a warning.
I'm listening.
Alan knows his shit when it comes to police departments.
Okay.
Well, Washington, D.C. is a jurisdictional nightmare.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania Avenue, the street, Pennsylvania Avenue is under the Metro. The White House is under the Secret Service. The sidewalks in between are Parks Police.
As soon as you walk out of the mall, though, the area all around that's all.
Yep, Metro. That's all Metro. The roads are Metro.
Right.
This is crazy.
That's not even counting the Metro Police that are actually the transit police.
How many nasty emails do these guys exchange with each other? The most petty things when it comes to jurisdiction.
A lot.
I'm sure. Oh my goodness. You can only imagine. All right. So let me just close out this thing here. All right. The Ayatollah, these guys, the Assembly of Experts, I still maintain, are under growing pressure from different directions. Now, it gets a little weird. Bear with me. The part where they're not under pressure, all right, has been the fact that now more Iranian oil is being allowed to go out the Strait of Hormuz.
Mm-hmm.
So that's allowing them to get some money. So for whatever reason, it seems like Trump is letting a little bit off on the chokehold that he's had on the Iranian economy. Now, in exchange, we have seen a gradual increase in the amount of other non-Iranian traffic through the Strait of Hormuz on the Oman side. Meantime, you had the IRGC putting out, the so-called IRGC Navy, whatever's left of it, saying we're going to monitor the situation. We're going to have boats out there tracking these tankers and what they're doing. Okay, so it seems like they can't charge a toll. This whole idea that they got to check with the IRGC before they pass through the straits, that's all kind of fallen apart. So now they're down to, we're going to monitor the situation. All right. So as far as that's concerned, meantime,
weakening them, I guess.
Yeah. So I think, all right. Because again, I'm imagining a war room, okay, where they're wargaming all this stuff, keeping track of every little development that takes place, and that, you know what? It's very hard, if not impossible, in my belief, in a situation like this, to be truly strategic. You may have your one goal, okay, but you're going to have to be ready to shift left, shift right, up, down, back, whatever, because the situation on the ground keeps changing. All right. The economy keeps changing. All right. The IRG does something else stupid with its neighbors. Okay. More street protests. Okay. The Kurds are finally getting their act together and they're starting to attack. Okay. All these things. And these other groups, what is it? The Immortal Guards. We haven't heard jack shit from them. Meantime, what's Pavlovi doing? Okay. Yeah. So, but when you add this all up, I think you'll find that the Assembly of Experts can see that their situation is slowly falling apart. At least that's my take on it. So yes,
good, because again, we're not going to have a world of peace until we get rid of the mullahs. In my opinion, no deal is going to do that. And I think the first paragraph you had on the first page was correct. Iran is the only major entity at all that's trying to force jihad on the rest of the world, and so you get rid of them, and you think you see the world move in a much better direction.
Okay,
no deal will do that.
But just to go back, I'm under the impression that CARE, for example, is funded largely by the Saudis. Do you think that's true, Alan? I'm not sure.
Can you hear us,
Alan?
Yeah, sorry, I had myself muted because of the background noise.
Okay, so what's going on?
Right now, my neighbors are reenacting World War III with the fireworks.
What the hell? I see.
I think I hear fireworks and thunder at the same time.
Yes, I heard that on the way home.
Yeah.
So I went to the movies tonight, and on the way home, my wife texted me because she's homesick, and she says, "Oh, can you bring me a bottle of water?" So I had to run to the variety store, and the way to the variety store was all fireworks and thunder at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I hear them both right now. I just heard both.
We're having that here.
Over here
too. That's right. Out here in friggin' Kellerworth.
But I completely support people with fireworks tonight because this is how we celebrate our independence, by blowing stuff up.
That's right. Snap, crackle, and pop, right? For tonight.
That's right.
I love the way you put it.
All right, you guys, I'm going to check out. I'll let you guys continue the show.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, everybody. For Common Sense News Entertainment, God bless Connecticut, and God bless Connecticut. Carry on, everybody.
All right. Later.
All
right. Bye, Jason. Yeah.
This is an interesting article. I read parts of it.
Okay. Yes. I think it's. I mean, they try to capture the. In other words, they're looking at the government. They're looking at the parts of the government, but they're giving a certain portrayal about the relationships between the parts of the government that I'm not sure I entirely agree with.
I'm not sure I do, but I can see parallels, and I think all governments have their factions. Do you remember the movie? Do you remember the movie Wag the Dog?
Yes.
And you literally had different intel agencies, some saying there was a war, some saying we know there's not a war. Well, there has to be a war. I saw it on TV. TV doesn't tell you about the war.
No, it doesn't. True. Okay. But the problem, so you're giving an example where, quite frankly, you're not dealing with an information-rich environment. Here, I think we can say we have an information-rich environment to the point that you have to sit there and sort out the misinformation from the kind of sort of got it wrong information from the real information.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying there's parallels. I think that every government has its factions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, England is famous for having their "what if we win" shadow government.
Okay, when you put in a comment there, it's always about oil.
Yes.
Well, that's right. Well,
by the way, I saw an interesting movie tonight.
Yeah.
I saw Disclosure Day.
Disclosure. Oh, what's his name? Spielberg.
Yes.
Okay.
Very interesting movie. It opens up with a bunch of kids waking up to bright lights and obviously an alien encounter, and then it flash forwards into probably 20 years in the future, which is our modern times. Mm-hmm. And there's a news reporter who suddenly develops the ability to read people's minds.
Ooh. Wow.
And she doesn't understand why she can do this. She can look at you and tell what you're thinking, and help you solve your problems.
Okay.
And like, she gets pulled over on the way to work by a cop. She looks at the cop and says she didn't mean it. Neither one of you regrets having a kid. You're a good dad, not like your dad was. Go buy your wife some cupcakes. You know, the ones she likes with the sprinkles on top.
Oh, brother. Well, I guess she didn't get a ticket.
And then she goes on air to she's a weather girl, and she goes on air, and all of a sudden she starts speaking gibberish on air, like clicks and pops and making noises that like people don't make.
Stop right there.
Yeah.
It actually happened.
Interesting.
This young woman who is a newscaster, she's talking, and all of a sudden it's like a transistor blew in her brain. It was amazing.
Now with this one, they get her off the air, she faints, and when she comes to, she doesn't remember it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then they flash to this kind of shady company that is a defense contractor, and they're looking at the footage and going, did we run a dialect check? Yes, it matches. Do we know what it is? No, we don't know how to translate it yet.
A dialect? If you don't know how to translate it, how do you know it's a dialect?
Because they are the people that have, since in the past 80 years, They're the people that have the alien technology. This is the private contractor that took the bodies out of Roswell.
We never wait. The private contractor. I always thought the Army controlled this.
Yes, except that would be too dangerous to put in, as they postulate in this, would be too dangerous to put in the hands of elected officials who at some point will go back to being civilians. So the Department of Defense keeps this in the hands of privates so that it's not discoverable.
I see. Okay, that part I get. But
so this private company has had 12 people not show up, including senior management. They all cleaned out their desks the day before and left. And they realized that they've taken the secrets. They have flash drives with all the alien footage on it for the past 80 years.
Okay, so all right, so this, how do I want to say this? Is this artistic license, or are they suggesting this is the truth?
Yes.
Which?
I think a little of each. Fictionalized, but then they play the footage of the woman making the weird noises.
You're telling me that the contractors who were being trusted were the ones that cheated the system the most?
Yes.
Somebody's got to be stupid at some point here.
One of the employees that is an ex-con who was a computer hacker who did time for computer crimes and was recruited into this private company, and he's one of the ones that left with the info.
Yeah.
They show him the video and he says, "Yeah, so what? She just said don't fear what you don't know." And even his boss in his resistance movement goes, "What do you mean? She was just making clicks and pops." No, she wasn't. She was speaking perfectly clear English. I understood her. Because this guy doesn't know that he understands it, but he understands the alien language.
That's crazy. Okay.
He doesn't know why he does it, and she didn't know, and she didn't remember that she spoke it.
Okay, here's the problem I'm having. All right. Yep. Now you have to start considering a lot of possibilities you have not considered before.
Like?
Starting with the ability to hear multiple conversations in multiple languages all at the same time, and you can understand each one by itself.
You mean speaking in tongues, or in that case, listening in tongues?
No, this is it's like channel 1 through 10, all in your brain. Okay, and there's nothing filtering anything. And
well, they did say she has to look you in the eye
yes.
to understand what you're thinking.
Okay. All right, so that's that part in terms of direct communication. With individuals, but the notion here is, all right, like I said, considering things that haven't been considered before. And obviously, I'm going to have to research this. The closest thing to this, right, in human experience, is that people can be trained to listen and read at the same time, comprehending both.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could kind of see how it can be done, but not perfectly. But it turns out that people can be trained to do both at the same time. So that would be a true example of what we call that, multitasking.
I can do it a little bit.
Yeah, me too. Right?
Because I have to listen to multiple radio channels.
There you go.
So I have to be able to grab keywords from multiple channels.
Well, I'm going to drop the idea that this is an emerging human capability. Yeah, emerging.
I don't think it's going to emerge much further than it has, because we are training our kids to be stupid and rely on AI. And there are now studies coming out saying the more you use AI, the dumber you become.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but I think there'll be a reaction against that. We're just not.
Of course they will, because somebody will go into AI and says, "Are you making me dumb?" And the robot will come back and say, "Of course not. You're a very good boy. Would you like a treat?"
No, I think parents and others. You certainly have professors who are getting really pissed off at AI. And
until we start getting professors using AI. Think about art, okay?
Yeah.
When you and I went to school, what was an art class? We learned to draw, we learned to paint a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We learned, I mean, obviously you learned the nuts and bolts, how to do perspective and stuff like that. And we learned different mediums to make art, maybe some pencil drawings. And I can remember in high school art, we had these magic markers. And this was like a new thing. And it was kind of I remember the art teacher talking about how some people didn't want us to use magic markers, but magic markers were becoming more artistic. And these were these weird ones that I think were actually made for younger kids because they all smelled like different fruit scents.
Okay.
And, that was a big thing, was using magic markers in art.
Yeah.
Flash forward to maybe 5-6 years ago. I know 2 people that will consider themselves artists, and they draw with a stylus on a tablet.
Yes. All right. Yeah.
And I was doing an art project with one of them and showing them a method that I learned in school to make something. We were making 8-foot tall figures of Christmas characters out of plywood.
Okay. Yes.
They did not know how to put white primer down on plywood with a roller. These were artists. They could not envision how to just make the whole 8x4 sheet of plywood white so we could draw on it.
Did they learn?
They did, because I showed them how to work. They'd never worked a roller and a roller tray. So then I showed them this amazing way of taking the image from your computer and putting it on that with an overhead projector.
Okay, old school technology.
I used I used a PowerPoint projector, but I projected from my laptop onto the 8x4 and then hand traced it.
Do I have to remind you, Alan?
Which?
Burma shave?
Oh, absolutely. Same method I used for the Burma shave.
Right.
Now picture doing that in 8-foot tall figures, making Santa Claus and a reindeer and elves and a snowman.
And there was another version of that, by the way. It was, I believe, I may have the term wrong, but it was camera obscura. Ever hear of it?
No, but it sounds interesting.
Yes. So what we would call in the early days of light, magnifying glasses and optics.
Oh, yes.
The artists in the Netherlands took advantage of this, and they have been, shall we say, accused of having made these fabulous paintings that they did by projecting an image onto the canvas, and they would sit there essentially tracing what was on the screen and painting it accordingly. So if you consider that as a possibility and then look back at what some of the Dutch masters did, you're going, wow, those lines are really sharp. Detail.
Absolutely.
Really incredible, because they would have done that.
Every one of these things was art, but our methods were changing. And I think that's kind of where we're going to be with AI. Right now, the professors don't like AI being used until we get some professors that went to school with AI.
All right. Well, it's funny. There is this contradiction I'm seeing. On the one hand, okay, there was a letter my wife worked on using AI, and it came out very well. And, believe me, as a writer, I was sitting there trying to tear that thing apart and saying, this is actually pretty tight, well-reasoned writing here. And what was another example? But you've heard some people talk about how using AI to write things has been beneficial to them. That's that one. Now let's go over here. And you are hearing now more and more. What is that term? AI slop.
Yep.
Okay. So which is it?
I know somebody who writes long letters with AI. And I've read some of them. And the way I can say is it's not that they're making the point wrong. They're very redundant letters. I joked about one that said, this letter is to remind you that your supervisors are here to supervise. Should you need supervision, see your supervisor.
Oh, geez. Really?
Should the supervisor not be available to supervise, you may also ask the acting supervisor, who is also qualified to supervise in the absence of a supervisor.
Okay, that does.
Now picture that with a lot more words.
Okay, but there you go.
It kept saying the same thing in slightly different ways in different sentences, to the point where something that could be 1 or 2 paragraphs ends up as 4 paragraphs.
So doesn't this come down to the point everybody makes, is that the quality of the output depends upon the quality of the query you write?
Absolutely. Garbage in, garbage out.
Okay, so it was a lousy query.
And again, we've already seen, I told you the example of finding an online news story generator.
Yeah.
And I asked it, if I say, tell me a story about why the president has not made a statement on the alien spacecraft that crashed into the Capitol. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. I tried two different queries.
Yeah.
One was, can you tell me why President Trump has not made a statement? That was an easy one. It came out with this thing, knows that it's President Trump, although did not know it was President Donald Trump.
What?
Just said President Trump.
Okay.
Now,
interesting.
When I said the president, it made up a name, and it didn't even take a historical president. It didn't say Biden or Obama or Clinton or Reagan or Roosevelt or Harding. I think it had President, like Fred Johnson or something like that. It was
Schnickelfritz, President Schnickelfritz.
Yeah, it just made up a name completely.
President Schickelgruber. Why didn't I think of that before? Okay.
But so when you think about this, I could issue a news story with that. And the weird thing is, if I publish that on a website, it becomes fodder for AI. So the next time somebody asks about the president, the mythical president is interspersed with the list.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's worse than slop.
Yes, but slop begets other slop. Because that's how AI does it. It goes on and it scours the internet looking for things.
Well, this becomes an interesting game. All right, so I'm not quite sure how to, again, this is my ignorance on full display. I apologize. If I'm hearing you correctly, then every time a query is made, for all intents and purposes, the large language models are going to be scouring, what should I say, the collection of information.
Now, they may actually actively scour and maintain their own database, but it builds its database off of everything that's available.
All right. So try this another way. So you come up with this fictional query, gives you a fictional answer, but now, so we're both subscribing to ChatGPT. If I take your fictional query now and pose a different kind of question, somehow because you got this fake information inserted, now it's going to go out there and give me the same fake information.
Right. Now, it's using some kind of algorithm to rate how it decides that. So it may look for multiple occurrences of that president's name. And it maybe it doesn't find a lot. So maybe it rates me lower.
Okay, well, now we get to engage in a conspiracy. You and I get to keep working this fictional name.
Exactly. Or how about this? What's the most popular radio station in Cincinnati?
Oh, of course, it's got to be WKRP.
Yes. And did you know that this year, for the first time, the FCC issued a license for WKRP in Cincinnati?
Seriously?
There's a radio station in Cincinnati that changed their call letters and got the permit.
Oh, my God.
And they went live on the air. Sadly, they did not open with the word booger.
What, your booger?
Well, that's if you remember the opening episode when they had Dr. Johnny Fever.
Yeah, okay.
And he had been fired from his previous radio station for saying the word booger.
Oh, I see.
And Andy Travis said to him, hey, play this rock music and you can say booger if you want to. And when he switched from the Mormon Tabernacle Choir to a rock album, as he's playing it, he grabs the mic and said, oh, yeah, and I forgot, booger.
No problem.
They waited like 3 disc jockeys into it, and they said, oh, we have a special message today, booger.
Oh, okay, good. All right. But what about Venus Flytrap? What about, what is her name? Lonnie Anderson.
Yep, she was Jennifer Marlowe. Venus Flytrap was Gordon Sims. That was his name when he was in the Army.
All right. Well, I mean, but the real WKRP's got to have these characters as their DJs.
And, here's the funny thing. When WKRP was on the air, they did an episode where they said, Mr. Carlson, the mayor is on the phone and wants to talk to you. Now, they never named the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a little bit of trivia. Do you know who the mayor of Cincinnati was when that episode aired?
Don't tell me it was, what's his name? Singer?
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer. Oh, my God.
So technically, Jerry Springer was on an episode of WKRP.
Oh, just in time for his show to shut down in Stamford.
Well, remember how he got his show? He was a disgraced politician who still loved talking to people, and he discovered that the local TV station had editorial replies.
Yeah.
And so they would do a news story, their producer would read the editorials, and he would call up and say, I want to go on the air and reply to the editorial. And that was their policy at the time, was any citizen could come on and make an editorial reply.
Okay.
And he would go down to the studio and he would be there. And he was basically trying to get back into politics.
Mm-hmm.
So he would talk about relevant issues. And he became so popular, they made him the editor and said, hey, why don't you do the editorials for us? And that led to him getting a TV show.
How do you like that?
And that show became the Jerry Springer Show because he started getting wackier and wackier guests.
But so, I mean, I guess what was happening, and each time he got on some other more bizarre person or situation, ratings kept going up. No, I'll tell you though, let's face it, Jerry Springer was drawing from the dregs of society.
Well, yes and no, because I read an interview with a couple that said they had been on his show.
Yeah.
And they made it all up.
Okay.
And this couple said the producers knew they were fakes. And the guy said, you're watching the show one day, and at the end of the show, it says they put a thing on with some topic they're looking to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did your wife leave you for a pet store owner? Mm-hmm. Okay. Call 1-800-JERRY, and we want to interview you. Mm-hmm. So one day they decided to make up a story and call up. Yeah, we did this. Oh, okay. Hey, you know, we really like it. Could you guys come out and be on the show? Well, we'd love to, but we can't afford a ticket to Chicago. We'll fly you out. So they went out and they got a weekend in Chicago while they did the production, and they got flown home. And they appeared on the show under assumed names. They didn't bother checking IDs. And they told their story, and they basically made the whole thing up. So they said, well, this was interesting. Let's try a different show. So they went on one of these other shows. They said they went on a bunch of shows using different names, different stories. And the guy said, I thought I was going to get caught when I came to New York to be on some TV show and realized that it was filmed in the same studio as another show we'd been on a few months before. And it was the same production staff. And we were using different names and a different story.
Did they get caught?
Nope. He said one of the producers even said hello to him. They didn't care. It was the story was important, not whether it was the truth or not.
Wow. Well, there's another element here. Now, going back, I don't think you were there with me at the time, but it was is it Buffalo Wings? Is that the restaurant?
Yep, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Wild Wings. Okay.
I remember being there with Phil and a bunch of RTC people.
Okay. Maybe that was the occasion. Anyway, what I remember was talking with the waitress there.
Yep.
And she had told us that, sure, because Springer Studios were around the corner, that they would get these people who would come in for the show.
Yep.
They were the worst customers.
Do you remember the night we were at SBC for the Tea Party meeting? And we couldn't be upstairs because they had a party, so we were downstairs.
Yeah. Yep.
And the table next to us was the Springer people, and they were literally just taking one sip out of a beer and throwing it on the ground and then saying, waiter, you have to come clean up this mess and get me a new beer.
Oh, my God. Wow.
And they were breaking glasses, and Dave's people were having a terrible time.
Well, I guess, he felt he couldn't throw them out?
Well, basically, they come in and they say would like $5,000 in $100 gift cards. You're a restaurant owner. I mean, think about when you owned your shop. Somebody walks in and says, I want $5,000 worth of product. Here's the cash.
How did Jerry find these people? This is what I don't understand.
He puts that 800 number up on the screen and says, if you fit this description.
What, to be a member of the audience?
Well, it wasn't just the audience. The audience, so that when they first came to Stamford, they would get some local people, but local people got bored with it and they couldn't fill the seats.
Sure. Okay.
They were sending buses as far away as Pennsylvania to college campuses.
How could you get bored with Jerry Springer?
Well, it's not that you get bored, Jerry Springer. It's that you get bored. You go once. You go on Thursday, and you go say, "Okay, I'm going to go watch this show."
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And once you've seen it, do you really want to go watch a taping of this again? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
But remember, they need to tape several episodes a day.
I see. So all right, and they couldn't get the people to show up.
So they were busing people in from Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. They would literally pull up with a bus in Philly, and just say, "Who wants to go see who wants to be part of a studio audience for a TV show?"
No, I can't help but think that there was something desperate about the marketing approach they would have used to encourage these people to be in the audience. I mean, if they're this bad.
Well, from what I've heard, there was a lot of liquid courage being passed out on the bus.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess that would make some sense too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
as well as some other forms of material.
So there you go. There you go with Jerry.
And again, remember that Jerry's show had spin-offs.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Wilkos was Jerry's head of security. He got his own show.
Wilco.
Big bald guy.
I think I saw some mention of him in the news recently. Did I?
He's had some issues over in Darien where he was living.
Okay. Meantime, let me just rattle off some headlines here and see what grabs your attention.
Okay.
Paul Pelosi charged with hit and run. Ted Nugent plays the national anthem on his signature Gibson Birdland. Let's see here. A video on how Japan celebrates America's 250th.
It was the second best fireworks show they've ever had.
My goodness. And how about, did you ever see that video with Robin Williams wearing a shirt that was like the American flag, and then he talks about the American flag in America?
Maybe years ago.
Oh, it was a great video, He had his own way of making you feel good about the country.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think part of it was that because he, had done those USO tours for soldiers in Afghanistan, I think that really opened his eyes.
Well, he was also, in his own way, pretty patriotic, and he loved America.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm not sure that we'd see eye to eye with a lot of things, but he was just one of these guys that could talk. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing a thing about when he did Aladdin, mm-hmm. and they brought him in to be the genie, and they had recorded test lines with somebody else as the genie. And when he came in, he basically did it for a relatively low salary because he wanted to make something his kids could watch. He wanted to make a kids movie.
Okay.
So he came in, and they said they got to the point where they just let him go and let him riff.
Yeah.
And they said it was one of the only times when they had gone to animators and said, "We're going to give you the tape and you draw what he's doing." Instead of the other way around, where they'll have the voice artist come in and read the script with the animation playing so you can get your timing down. They made the animators draw what he was doing.
Okay. Now, another one here. I'm going to go, here I go. There's a thing there about the hidden history of the Second Continental Congress.
Interesting.
Have you ever read about the Second Continental Congress?
A little bit.
Yeah, well, we know that was the critical one. And so where I got this from was McCullough. What was his first name? Peter McCullough? No, McCullough, David McCullough, the historian who passed away a few years ago. So he had written this biography. I've got to go back and read the rest of it on John Adams. And, one of the things that's kind of amazing. In the case of Martha and George, upon his passing, she had all their letters burned.
Interesting.
That was a loss. But in the case of Abigail and John, the letters were preserved. There was something, I believe, on the order of 2,000 of these letters that they wrote to each other. They were very much in love with each other.
Yes, I've heard of that.
That's right. And so these letters, so David McCullough actually got to read these original letters between Abigail and John Adams. I'm in a moment of awe. because because these two understood what they were doing. They understood the importance of the American Revolution. They understood the implications and what the future probably held. So you can just imagine what those letters had in them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So that said, so in the biography, so John Adams kept a journal. Okay. John Adams kept a journal, and he kept track of what happened in that Second Continental Congress. And the part that I found absolutely fascinating was you had 54 people who made up that Continental Congress, okay? And you can pick any time in history, any situation, any session of Congress, and you're going to find the same three things. Over in that corner, the conformists. In the middle, the ones who are dithering. They're not quite sure which way to go. And then over in the other corner, the radicals. And in this case, Fairleigh Dickinson, who was a famous lawyer in Philadelphia, was the leader of the conformist group. In other words, even though they're in there and they're bitching about what England is doing to them, Fairleigh Dickinson and his ilk insisted on remaining loyal to the crown. Okay?
Yep.
On the other side of the room are all the people you and I know and love. That would be Sam. That would be John. That would be, who am I leaving out? Benjamin Franklin, and the others. Okay, so they're both what? Maybe a dozen at the most. And then in the middle, all these other representatives who just couldn't. There was too much fear. They weren't quite sure which way to go. And as we know, the thing that finally got the Continental Congress off the pot was what book? What book?
I don't know.
Oh, I would say it's a very well-known book. I believe it was called Common Sense.
Oh, yes. I have a copy of that.
Yes, that's right. And that book, which sold, I think would be, if it was in America today, sold 3 million copies.
Wow.
Okay. You don't see a lot of books that sell 3 million copies in one shot.
No.
All right. So the message that, I'm sorry, Paine. What was his first name? Thomas Paine. So Thomas Paine, was good at writing these sorts of things. I guess you could call it a polemic. Caused the Americans to start making demands, and that was where the Continental Congress said, "We're going to have to shit right now."
I'm not liking this camera.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that looks okay from here.
Yeah, this is fine now.
Okay.
If I lean too far back, it makes my head look small and my body look huge.
Okay. Well, all right. So, what if you look like the Yeti? It's okay. I look like, I don't know, greaseball. I don't know, whatever.
I got to get a better chair. This is an old kind of broken down office chair.
Right.
And it always seems to want to lean further back, and it's like, no.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know who in the audience is paying attention, but you know what? Our backgrounds are a little confusing.
Well, they are, especially where they meet by that one window.
How did that even happen?
This is just one I downloaded.
Okay.
So I apparently downloaded the reverse image.
Huh. All right, because what I have here came with StreamYard.
This might have come with StreamYard, but I don't remember if. Yeah, I think I just got it off StreamYard's library. I don't know why I'm showing one backwards.
All right, this is a deep mystery in which we have to investigate.
It is.
Yeah, we're going to have to get to the bottom of this one. We're folding universes together here somehow. In any event,
that's what Mr. Fantastic would call an incursion.
Mr. Fantastic. I don't remember Mr. Fantastic.
From the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards, the guy who can stretch, he's Mr. Fantastic.
Boy, I'm weak on this stuff. Okay. Is this part of the Marvel franchise?
Yes.
All right. So there you go.
They are trying desperately to save Marvel after some serious missteps.
Missteps? I think the first misstep is they lost their imagination.
No, I think actually the problem they ran into And I think anybody trying to make a superhero movie runs into this problem.
Mm-hmm.
There's a handful of superheroes that everybody, even people that don't read comic books, knows. Everybody knows Superman. Everybody knows Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then if you grew up watching some cartoons or some stuff, maybe you know Aquaman, Iron Man, the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
But when you make a movie, you have to tell the origin story because you need new people. You need a new audience.
Interesting. All right, I
So
hadn't.
the first movie you make
right.
with the first movie you make with Superman, even if there was a Superman movie 20 years ago, has to tell the story of the little kid whose parents put him in a rocket ship and it crashed on Earth, and the farmer found him on the side of the road and raised him as his own.
Yes. All right. So there's that part of the backstory, but later on,
right. But you have to tell that backstory. So Marvel came up with a very innovative idea.
Okay.
They did a series of movies with backstories. The whole point of was to get all these people together to do a group movie.
Okay.
And that was the Avengers, and that was great. Problem is, actors want to move on. They don't want to be typecast.
Christopher Helm.
Yeah, he didn't want to be Thor anymore. Chris Evans didn't want to be Captain America anymore. And now they're all coming back because they realize they made a boatload of money. But
yes. Hey, the royalties dropped. What happened here?
But as they started saying, okay, we need to get new characters in, they had to start reaching into I won't say the bowels of comic books, but they had to go for the less popular characters.
Okay, sure.
The ones that there are a few fans out there of, but not everybody knows it.
All right, so what's that guy's name? Loki.
Yes. Loki was a character in the Thor movies.
Uh-huh.
But if you weren't like a super fan of Thor, you really didn't know Loki.
Okay.
But then, because Loki's actor would work cheaper and was willing to do a TV show, he got his own series.
Oh, he's been getting around. Let's face it.
Right. And then you get into other problems. They had in the main bad guy in the Loki series was this guy named Kang the Conqueror. And he was going to be the whole focus of the next batch of movies. Was going to be how Kang the Conqueror was trying to rule the multiverse.
Was this with or without the stones?
A little of each.
A little of each?
Yeah, they've done some stuff for the stones, but Kang didn't need the stones because Kang was some kind of super being that could travel around without the stones. But then the actor that played Kang had to go to jail.
Jail? A figure that powerful can be imprisoned?
Well, when you beat your girlfriend while you're making movies, that kind of ruins it for you.
What?
The actor who played Kang had to go to jail.
All right.
Now what do we do? Do we recast him?
Oh, I see.
Or do we just forget that Kang ever existed and go on and let's get a different bad guy?
All right. Yes.
And then you get things like when you get Hollywood trying to introduce some woke stuff. And when you try to do that with an existing property,
yes,
you're always going to get the people that say, that's not my Iron Man.
All right. Why can't they learn? I mean, can they learn from the mistakes that Disney made with this stuff?
Well, I say it's because too many people in Hollywood look at an established property, be it a comic book, a movie franchise,
yes,
and they see it as a problem that needs to be fixed.
Well, all right, there's the other excuse, and that is that they see it as an artistic challenge that invites what they believe in.
Right. And again, because the KGB spent all that time in education schools and journalism schools.
Yeah.
You know, again, shout out to Trevor Loudon, who woke us up to this a long time ago.
Yes.
We have people that think that their goal is to defy authority, to tear down what came before, to unburden the movies.
Oh, right. You had to throw that in. Slick, very slick. Okay.
But the problem is you now take a Batman movie and we say, what if Batman wasn't Bruce Wayne? What if Bruce Wayne wasn't a millionaire? What if he wasn't a philanthropist?
All right. So now, I mean, this is the worst kind of revisionism in my mind. Okay. You're trying to create this alternative reality on the back of the success that was created with the original story.
Yes.
That just doesn't make sense to me.
I'm going to say there's
so radical. You should break the mold. Yeah, all right.
3 or 4 productions that I use as an example of how bad this gets.
Mhm.
The first one would be the newer Battlestar Galactica.
Haven't seen it.
Okay. So there was Battlestar Galactica in the 70s. It failed on TV because they didn't really know what to do with it. And then a year later, Star Wars came out, and they're like, "Crap, we owned a sci-fi show, and we got rid of it." So they brought it back, but they said, "But sci-fi is all for kids," so they made it into a kids show, and they couldn't even get most of the original actors back. So it kind of languished. People have fond memories of it, but it wasn't a big thing. And then the 2000s, somebody else brought it back and said, "Hey, let's bring Battlestar Galactica back."
Mhm.
And what I mean by bring back is I'm going to keep all the place names, I'm going to keep all the character names, I'm going to keep all the ship names, but I'm going to write a completely new story.
Now, when you say a completely new story, you're talking about, shall we say, the narrative, right?
Yes. We went from...
But the protagonist...
and of course, we're going to gender and race swap as many people as possible. So Commander Adama, the old white guy, he's now a younger... I mean, he's still a father, but he's now Spanish.
Yeah.
Starbuck, well, he's not a guy anymore. She's a girl. Boomer used to be a black guy, now a Chinese girl.
So this is like Hamilton.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Crap. Yeah.
So
what does this accomplish? You know?
No one knows.
I mean,
so the next one I'll go with is Starsky and Hutch. Starsky and Hutch, a cop show from the 70s. Had some lighthearted moments. It was basically a drama. And...
All right, so here's my rhetorical question.
They made a movie of Starsky and Hutch, and you know who was starred in it?
Who?
Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. They made it a comedy.
Okay, this is demented, but all right, look, Hollywood creativity is supposed to know no bounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the battle of the movie pitches. Whoever comes up with a more compelling idea. It's like this. Combine these two movies to make it. And we never did this before. They'll go nuts. I don't think so.
They made a couple of movies about the Brady Bunch.
Okay.
Now the Brady Bunch, really, you could set in any time period.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to change a few things down, but I mean, let's face it. You've got people who get married and bring their kids in and have a blended family. It's much more common now than it was then.
Look, I'm just going to say it. All you yahoos out there who keep fiddling with these, what should I call them, franchises, for lack of a better term. If you want a real challenge, all right?
Write something in your own, original?
No. Well, yes, that would be nice. Okay, but they can't do that. Instead, you need to draw from a richer, deeper well of ideas, of creativity. Do you know where I'm going, Alan?
Yeah.
Where am I going?
Well, first of all, you're trying to tell people that have never had an original idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, if you want to be contrarian, if you don't do wacky things, go to a wacky place. Douglas Adams.
Yeah. Most people will tell you that his stuff just can't be filmed.
That's not the point. The point is that if you're looking for a point of departure to do something that's bent, start there. Don't start with these sort of predictable space opera stories.
You're right. They tried to make a movie of Hitchhiker's Guide. It was pretty bad.
Yes, it was. That's true. But again, all they're doing, that was not creative. Okay, they're just trying to follow the same line. And,
You're right.
Oftentimes there are things that are, of the mind, the imagination that he had that simply don't translate well. Or you take Dune. Okay, what was the thing there? What was it? Herbert Walker?
Yep.
Dune? Herbert Walker?
Frank Herbert.
Frank Herbert, right. Okay, Frank Herbert was writing these intricate, complicated psychological profiles of people from other planets, but that didn't translate into a movie.
Well, so I think one of the reasons it doesn't translate, and I think it might translate, but I'll use the Harry Potter books as an example. Now, I've never read the books. My wife has. She's a big fan of the Harry Potter books.
Sure.
But when they get the movie rights, they say, okay, we're going to make book number 1.
Right.
and you look at it and you start writing a screenplay on it and you realize that you got about 7 hours of material. Well, we got to get that down to less than 2.
Mm-hmm.
Start making cuts. Cut out some stuff. Cut out some scenes. Cut out some whole characters.
Well, 2 points on that. All right, well, you done, but I got 2 points on that.
You get your first movie and it does well. And they go, okay, we're going to give you some money for a second movie. There's another book out there. And you go, okay. This time you say, okay, we're not going to cut out some characters, but we're going to do some scenes. We're going to get rid of some of that stuff because we're still going on that. By the time they got to the end, I think there were 7 books.
Mm-hmm.
When they did the last book, they had become such a good property that they were able to do part 1 and part 2. So 2 movies came out of that 7th book.
Yes.
As a result, less cuts were made.
Mm-hmm.
The first 6 movies, they had to chop up the first 6 books.
Okay.
The 7th one, they didn't have to make as many cuts.
Okay, so would you say that they did a pretty good job?
From what I've heard, yes. Again, I didn't read the books.
Okay. So I think they knew how to respect artistic integrity. So my second point, the reason they were so good at respecting artistic integrity, they said, fuck you, Hollywood.
Well,
okay? That was not done in Hollywood. Lord of the Rings was not done in Hollywood. These people who put those together knew what a bad idea would be to use
there's a
Hollywood.
channel I watch here on YouTube that's all about Narnia.
Yes.
And it's a scholar who do these videos on different topics. And one of the things he was talking about was the new Narnia series that's coming out on Netflix.
Yeah.
Now, this is the first time that any one production company has owned the rights to all 7 books.
Okay.
Before, they've been buying 1, buying 2, even when Disney tried to make the Chronicles of Narnia.
It's very strange, but yeah.
They only bought the rights to Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Then they bought the second movie. It didn't do as well. They bought the third one, but assigned less money to it. Yeah. And Voyage of the Dawn Treader suffered from bad production values, and they never made the 4th movie.
You did say Disney, right?
Yes.
That I equate with Hollywood.
Right. But I'm just saying, here's a big, rich company. And they said, well, we're not throwing that kind of money at Narnia. So now Netflix has done it. Now,
I must once again invoke the laws of stupidity.
They are going to say, well, because it's a TV show and we can make a series out of it and we can devote an entire season to it, instead of making a 2-hour movie, we can do a 26-hour season if we want to. So on the one hand, they're not going to have to cut a lot out. But guess who they hired to run this whole endeavor?
What's his name? J.J. Abrams?
Worse.
Who?
Greta Gerwig.
Oh, I think, hasn't she, shall we say, gotten into some trouble over her woke crap?
Yes. And, of course, she's the one that made the Barbie movie, so we know what this is going to be about.
This is so weird. I mean, are we talking about
the first thing she did was take the character. Come on, who's the biggest character in all of Narnia?
She was the one who would take out the lion.
Well, we didn't take out the lion. We just guess who they cast to be the lion?
I don't know, that guy in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, no, see, you're wrong already because you said that guy. Because in this movie, Aslan's a girl.
Oh, God. Okay.
Because you can't have the whole of world created by God and his son, when in Greta's mind, he clearly had a daughter.
Right.
Who gave the mighty roar and caused Narnia to exist.
All right. So there are no adults in the room.
There are not. Okay. There aren't even smart kids in the room.
This will be an unmitigated disaster.
Yes, it will.
Okay, so why do they keep going through this? Why is it that they're so hard for them? They feel like, I don't know, maybe, or here's the wacky thought. They're telling themselves, okay, financially this may not do well, but we will have created something that shall forever remain a part of the Disney catalog.
I guess so.
And that seems to be their justification.
Well, these are the same people that created Song of the South and then put it in a safe, never to be taken out again.
Song of the South. What was that?
That was the one with Uncle Remus and the Black Crows, and it is now widely seen as it's a Disney movie that is widely seen
Okay, this
as
I
one of those
remember.
racist movies.
Oh, Jesus.
I have a DVD of it because very briefly there was a guy who owned the rights to it who came
Yeah.
to one of our meetings, I believe, over at the Hampton Inn. And he had the rights to make DVDs of the Song of the South.
Who was this?
I can't remember. He was he was a guest speaker who came to talk to us. He also did a Dr. Seuss parody of Cat in the Hat that was about Obama.
Oh, wait a second. Was this the guy who is the big economist, so to
I think
speak?
so, yes.
A rather unusual character, I must say.
Yes. So I have his Dr. Seuss parody autographed, and I have one of his DVDs of Song of the South.
Amazing. Do you remember his name?
I do not. I'll have to look for the book and find it.
Yeah, if you could email that to me, I'd like to track that guy down, just for the fun of tracking him down. That would be, yeah. Okay, here we go. This is so weird. On the one hand, you just gave an example of how this big media powerhouse cowers at the suggestion of racism, takes a beautiful Disney classic and deep sixes it. All right. But then some schmo nobody's ever heard of, doesn't have much to work with, but he grabs it and saves it for himself, even if only for a brief period of time.
Yep.
This is what a story. Okay.
Well, how about this? Think about if I asked you what was one of the most popular children's shows in America, maybe even the most popular children's show, what would you say?
You're not talking about Mr. Beast, are you?
Nope.
Okay.
Classic children's show, been on the air for years.
Are you talking about the Sesame Street?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Sesame Street, when you buy the DVDs, has a parental warning on it. This is not suitable for children.
Really?
Because Cookie Monster makes fun of obese people. And we all know that cookies are not an anytime snack. Cookies are a sometimes snack. And let's not forget that Cookie Monster also, in one of his roles he played on that show, when he would do Monster Piece Theater, and he was Alistair Cookie. Okay,
and they didn't like that?
Well, because Alistair Cook on Masterpiece Theater smoked a pipe while he was telling you about the show you were about to watch.
Okay.
And smoking's bad, and Alistair Cookie eats his pipe.
Come on. And they can't take it.
Nope, because that's telling kids it's okay to smoke.
Okay. May these people die a slow, miserable death, as far as I'm concerned. What is your problem?
It makes me want to get
time. You can't appreciate a good sense of humor. You can't appreciate the perspective that takes a certain slang on thing, all because you have your list. This is the weirdest kind of Puritanism, liberal Puritanism that somebody's got to explain to me.
Have you ever heard about the hidden episode of Sesame Street, the one that was banned for years and the Children's Television Workshop would not release?
No, I did not hear about this.
And the only reason it finally clips of it got out is because the Smithsonian was given a complete set of Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And that made it public record.
Wait, say that again?
So the Smithsonian wanted to preserve Sesame Street because it was a groundbreaking show.
Right.
The Smithsonian's a government institution.
Yes.
They can't have secrets.
Okay.
Everything they have is in the public domain.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So all of a sudden, people had access to the lost episode. Now, when I tell you what the lost episode is, you're going to go, why was this not on it?
Okay. You say lost, so somebody intentionally suppressed it.
Yes.
Shall we say misplaced it? Okay.
The Children's Television Workshop said it was too frightening for children, and they had complaints.
So why did they even create it in the first place?
Because they didn't know it was going to be scary, because it wasn't intended to be scary.
Yeah, and what was it about?
Well, it has to do with Oscar the Grouch meeting somebody else who's green.
Okay.
I'm going to describe the green character to you,
Yes.
But first of all, I'm going to say the actress that played her
Yes.
loved kids and would do anything for kids. Had been a former kindergarten teacher before becoming an actress,
Okay.
and had an acting career that lasted at least 50 years.
Okay.
Played a scary character in a movie in the 30s.
Oh, I'm beginning
then
to remember this.
spent
Yes.
The
Yes.
next 40 some odd years teaching kids that was just pretend, and that she's not a scary person when she's not wearing her green makeup,
Yes.
including an appearance on Mr. Rogers, an appearance on the Kiss Halloween special.
All right. That's a little weird. All
Well,
right.
it was actually the Paul Lynde Halloween special, but everybody remembers it as Kiss.
Oh, that's
So it was
wild.
Paul Lynde doing a comedy routine.
Uh-huh.
And this was Margaret Hamilton,
Right.
who played the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yes. I mean, I finally figured it out.
So in this episode, she is flying on her broom over Sesame Street.
I saw this. It was
and she falls off her broom. And when the broom lands on Sesame Street, Mr. Hooper picks it up and uses it to sweep the front of the store. And the whole episode is about her trying to get the broom back, and her meeting, and the Wicked Witch meeting Oscar.
Okay, well, that must have been classic.
And people complained about how scary the witch was. And the funny thing is, I read an interview later with Margaret Hamilton that said she agreed to be on Sesame Street in character because she wanted kids to realize that the witch could be funny.
Well, all right, maybe that's the part they didn't like. Okay, that this evil character could be funny. That upset their world. But let me understand, what year was this made?
Oh, it would have been in the early 70s, probably.
So she had to be really old by that time.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Well, she wasn't that old when she was the Wicked Witch in the 30s. But Wizard of Oz, what, 34, 35?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. So let's say she was 20, 25 then.
Okay. So
40 years later.
So, yeah.
You know, if she was 25, she would have been 65 playing the witch on Sesame Street.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 70.
All right. There you go. So that's a remarkable example. But yes, so here's the thing. Can we just make this juxtaposition for the moment? On the one hand, right, you have Sesame Street going, ooh, I don't think we want the Wicked Witch here. Ooh, that's not going to be good. But on the other hand, what person who was the gentlest, kindest person to children in the world, Mr. Rogers,
Yep.
had no problem.
Yep.
Go figure.
And Mr. Rogers, in his own way, was known for several groundbreaking things. If you haven't seen the documentary that I believe was called It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Okay. Yeah, but it's his life story, basically.
Yes.
Tom Hanks.
No. That was the fictionalized one. They made a documentary that was all archival footage.
Okay.
And interviews, and they showed points. Some of the critical things, like there was a character on there who was a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the police officer in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. And there was an episode where Mr. Rogers was sitting outside with a kiddie pool and a garden hose, and he was cooling off on a hot day by taking his shoes and socks off and putting his feet in the pool.
I remember.
And he invited the police officer to do the same thing.
Right.
What he was really showing you was that it was okay for black people and white people to share a swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
In an age when segregation was not that far of a memory.
Mm-hmm.
And behind the scenes, the actor who played the police officer was a well-known gay rights activist.
Okay.
And so Fred Rogers was also telling people in Hollywood that it was okay to share a swimming pool with a gay man.
Okay, Mr. Rogers was a liberal of the time, if you will. Okay, he would not be the liberal that we have today.
No, but he was a Presbyterian minister,
right.
And his specific branch of the Presbyterian is one of the more liberal mainline denominations now.
Okay, but do they have gay pastors?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, and then he probably would have allowed that.
But the interesting thing is, this was at a time when they hadn't done these things, but he was one of their forward thinkers.
Okay, well, the thing is, here I'm going to take a position. All right. Yes, you and me would say we are conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
And as conservatives, we have issues with liberals, don't we?
Yes.
Quite a few issues. That said, I will take the position that there was a time when the role of liberals in America to right certain wrongs was
Yes.
essential, and it was done well. Okay, and I'll go out on the limb with one in particular, and I'll try and hold myself together here. Yeah, I'll start here. I was at a meeting, and it was a group of parents who had autistic children.
Okay.
And some of the children were older than others, but these parents were discussing the various services and features. And this poor woman, she had an older child, and he had to be institutionalized.
Okay.
The kinds of services, the innovations, the interventions that people who are concerned about these things in the social sciences, primarily liberals,
Mm-hmm.
offered a path for special needs children that was much better than being institutionalized.
Absolutely.
Okay. But she was at that cusp in time in the mid 80s for her, but for me it was the mid 90s or later. And she missed the boat. And as a result, her son was institutionalized.
So I was just
She forgave herself.
I was just watching a video today about I would call him a young man, but it turns out he's actually older than me. He's 61 years old.
Yeah.
And I had thought that most of his stuff had been in the late 90s, early 2000s, but apparently he had started what later became known as his crime spree in the late 70s.
Yeah.
A young man named Darius McCallum. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
So Darius has an interesting story. He turns out that he is, now they would call it autistic.
Mm-hmm.
Some people said Asperger's syndrome, which then has recently been decided wasn't a separate disease. But the interesting thing is a judge ruled a few years ago that Asperger's syndrome in Mr. McCallum was a dangerous mental defect. And he was put into a maximum security mental institution.
Did this McCallum guy commit any crimes?
Well, when I tell you what his crime is and how many, and he has spent, some people say 2/3 of his life behind bars for all nonviolent crimes.
And what were these nonviolent crimes?
Getting to that, he was recently moved in 2025 to a minimum security institution.
No.
His crimes? Driving trains.
Oh, I remember this.
He started off as a young kid. Before
Right.
His parents never had him tested or diagnosed. He was bullied in school, and he took refuge riding the New York City subways and befriended the subway operators and memorized how to operate trains. The subway operators would give him things like uniform shirts and badges. One day, when he was 15, one of the operators wanted to go off and do something on the side. So they said, "Hey, Darius, can you drive the train for a couple of hours for me?" And he did, and he did it flawlessly. He was only caught because a passenger got off and walked past the head car and saw a 15-year-old kid behind the wheel of the train.
All right. Okay. We'll be done in a few minutes.
And so Darius was arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Darius, by every account, does not understand that he did anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
and he was arrested and charged, and he's been put in jail, and he's been given probation, and then he's violated the terms of probation.
Oh, okay. Well, therein lies the rub.
Well, all he ever wanted to do was work for the MTA, and when he was 17, he applied for a job with the MTA, and they said, no, you're too much of a liability. So here's the interesting thing. Somebody came up with the idea that, hey, Darius knows the train rules better than anyone else. Darius knows train security better than anyone else, just like Frank Abagnale.
That's right. The surprise, here I offer this as my opinion, the surprise is that autistic kids, at least some autistic kids, have a very sharp sense and appreciation for rules.
Yes.
They take rules more seriously than other people do.
And trains. And I learned this in a class on search and rescue, was that missing autistic kids look for two things: train tracks and bodies of water.
Okay. Both dangerous.
Yes. So anyway, Darius, the city of New York, even while he was in jail, went and quizzed him on helping them fight vulnerabilities.
Interesting. Wow.
And he met with them, and he helped them write security plans, but then somebody realized something. He was in prison. Bad people are in prison. Bad people could go talk to Darius.
All right. Yeah. All right. All right.
So the city had him put in solitary confinement.
This is just insane.
Yes.
Just insane.
And some people have theorized the reason he was viewed as dangerously insane was because they need to keep him locked away so that the terrorists don't ever get to talking to him.
Wow. Wow.
He might actually be so smart he has to be imprisoned.
There's something to ponder on. And unfortunately, because Michael needs to go to bed, that's where I have to stop.
All right.
I think we did good.
Yeah.
We did. And I want to thank I'm counting 29 people who have stuck with us through this whole thing.
Nice. 29 is a good number.
That's right. I appreciate it. I want to thank
Would
all of
love
you.
to get now. Hopefully, some of them subscribe to the feed.
Oh, thank you. Yes, subscribe to YouTube. Thank you.
Like this broadcast. Give us the thumbs up, and we have a chat room in there. If you're watching this, feel free to chat.
Yes,
we will respond to the chats.
Oh yeah, you bet. That's for sure. We love responding to the chats. So hopefully you guys will come back again. Now, unfortunately, we probably won't be at this again until Tuesday night. But yeah, so that's the story. All right.
All right.
Thanks, Alan. We'll talk to you later. All right. Okay.